guys, so in this video I'll be going over integers, real numbers and rational numbers. So first let's talk about integers. So integer is any value which is a whole number. So what I mean by whole number is that it's 1, 2, -1, -5, 10. No matter how big or small a number, as long as it's a whole number, it can be an integer. So if we have -0.5, that will not be an integer because it's a decimal figure. And in the same way, if we have 5/7, then this will also not be an integer because it's a fraction figure, right? So integer is any number that exists in the form of whole number. So every whole number is an integer, and this includes 0, right? Now we have two types of integers, positive and negative, right? So positive are any number that is greater than 0 is a positive integer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on up to infinity are all positive integers, and any number that is less than 0 is a negative integer. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and so on are all negative numbers. Now 0 is neither a positive integer or a negative integer, it is just an integer, right? We can express these integers in the form of a number line. So for example, we have this line, this is 0. So any number, towards the right hand side, the numbers increase. So after 0 we have 1, and then we have 2, then 3, then 4. So the numbers will keep increasing as you go towards the right hand side, and as you go towards the left hand side, the numbers will decrease. So we'll have -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on, right? Then we have the addition and subtraction of negative integers. So let's say we are adding two negative numbers. So let's say we have -2 and -5, right? So let's look at some multiplication rules first. So negative number multiplied by negative number multiplied by another negative number will give a positive number. In the same way, positive number multiplied by a positive number will give a positive number. And if we have negative number multiplied by a positive number, then we have a negative number. So when the signs are same, we will have positive outcome, and when the signs are different, we'll have a negative number in the result. So let's look at this. The plus and minus signs are getting multiplied. Let's just say they're getting multiplied. So because the signs are different, the answer will be negative. So we can write this as -2 plus -5. So -2 minus 5 is -7. So when the signs are same, we add the two numbers. So here our signs are same. I'll just highlight it so you don't get confused. Since the signs were same, you will add the two numbers, right? And if the signs were different, for example, if we had -2 plus 5, so if we had -2 plus 5, then because the signs are different, we won't add the two numbers, but we'll subtract the two numbers, and the sign of the greater number is the resultant sign. So the sign of the greater number is plus, so our resultant sign will be plus, and we will subtract the two numbers. So -2 plus 5, 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3 will be our answer. In the same way, if we had -2 minus -5, in this way we are subtracting. So these two signs get multiplied, right? So negative and negative multiply to become positive. So that will be -2 plus 5, and the same thing will happen over here, and we'll have an outcome of +3, right? Let's look at some multiplication examples. So let's say we have -2 is being multiplied by -5, right? So we do the same thing. First we multiply the numbers. So 2 into 5 is 10. So our number will be 10, and because the signs minus is getting multiplied by minus, so when the two signs are same and they get multiplied, the outcome is positive. So our resultant sign will be plus, right? So -2 into -5 is +10, right? And you don't have to write the minus, so you can just positive, so you can just write 10. In the same way, if we had -2 but only 5, like +5, since these signs are now different, then our outcome will be negative, right? So because the signs were different, then we'll have a minus here, and then you do the same thing, you just multiply the numbers. So 2 into 5 is 10, so this will be 10, so -10, right? This is the reason why when we were doing square root, so the square root of 4 is not only 2, it's positive and -2. Why? Because when you multiply +2 into +2, you get +4, right? Which is this. But if you multiply -2 into -2, so what you do is 2 into 2 is 4, right? So 2 into 2 is 4. But minus into minus is also positive, so in the answer you get +4. Hence the square root of 4 is not only +2 but +2 both, right? The same thing happens in division. So when you are dividing, for example, let's say 39 by 3, right? And this is positive and this is negative. So when you divide a positive number by a negative number, you get negative. Whenever different signs are involved, your answer will be negative, and whenever same signs are involved, your answer will be positive. So since this is since the signs are different, you'll get a negative answer, and 39 divided by 3 is 13, right? But in the same case, if we had +39 divided by +3, or we had -39 divided by -3, then the minuses would have cancelled each other out, and in both the cases, this case and this case, our answer would have been the same, which is +13, because our signs were same. Our signs were same, right? And minus, right? Now let's talk about rational numbers. So rational numbers, any number can be called a rational number if it can be expressed in the form of a fraction. But this fraction must be a non-zero denominator fraction. What I mean by that is that the denominator of this fraction cannot be 0. If the denominator of this fraction is 0, then it will not be a rational number, right? So if we have a fraction 8 divided by 2, then it's a rational number. Even if we have 8 divided by 3, which is not perfectly divisible, it is still a rational number, right? 7 divided by 3, 10 divided by 3, even 10 divided by 1 is a rational number, because the denominator is not 0, it's 1, so it's a rational number. And any integer, any and every integer is a rational number. So 8 minus 10 minus 1000, so it doesn't mean even if the number is positive, negative, because the numbers, when you divide it by 1, these can be expressed in the form of fractions, right? So these all are rational numbers. So every integer is a rational number. So every integer is a rational number, right? Every integers and whole numbers are rational numbers. But if you write let's say if you write 10 divided by 3 in decimal places, so when you divide 10 by 3, you get 3.3333333, and the 3's just go on and on and on. So this 3.33333, because the decimal places are infinite, that's what makes this an irrational number. While this 10 by 3, because it's a fraction, it is a rational number. In the same way, do you know about the mathematical symbol pi? So pi is basically 22 by 7, right? So 22 by 7, because it's a fraction, it's a rational number, right? But when you express it in the form of decimal places, like if you write 3.142, if you only write limited number of decimal places, like the number of decimal places are limited, only 3 decimal places, or only 4, or only 5, then this will be a rational number as well. But when you actually divide 22 by 7 in calculator, you will not only get 3.142, but you will get 3.1428557, and the numbers will keep going, right? So this becomes an irrational number, because the number of decimal places are not limited. They are going on and on and on. They are like infinite, right? So this becomes an irrational number, and that's what makes this pi and an irrational number, right? So any number that can be expressed in the form of fraction is a rational number, and the fractions must be non-zero denominator, like the denominator of the fraction must not be 0. So if you divide 2 by 0, because the denominator is 0, then this will not be a rational number, this will be an irrational number, right? So real numbers include rational and irrational numbers. Rational and irrational. So even 2 by 0 is a real number, even though the answer is infinity, it still is a real number, right? And pi is a real number, 10 by 3 is a real number, 3.333 is a real number, 10 by 3 is a rational figure. So let's just write it over there. So 10 by 3, 10 by 2, 5, 8, minus 15. Even the number rational or irrational are real numbers. But if we square root a negative number, like if we square root negative 100, then this will not be a real number, this will be an imaginary number. We don't have to really go through imaginary numbers, you just have to learn that real numbers include rational and irrational, both numbers. So, and rational number is any number that can be expressed in the way of a fraction, and integers are whole numbers, right? So that's it for this video. I hope you all learned something. Goodbye.